The untold story of a missing girl. She disappeared after saying, "He's watching me." Imagine saying just 5 words and then vanishing forever. "He's watching me," she said. A single, chilling sentence, spoken in fear. Whispers carried through a phone line, clutched in the static of a late-night call. Hours later, she was gone. No calls, no struggle, no messages, no goodbyes. Just vanished. This wasn't a horror movie. It wasn't a scripted thriller or viral creepypasta. It was real. Emma Filipov was 26 years old when she disappeared without a trace. She left behind nobody, no signs of violence, no suspect. Just a trail of fragments, diary pages, security footage, confusing tips, and the echo of a voice that still haunts everyone who's heard it. The girl who loved the world. Emma wasn't the kind of person you forget. Soft-spoken, kind-eyed, a dreamer with a camera and a notebook always nearby. She loved poetry, nature, music, the way the light looked when it filtered through trees. She carried a fragile beauty, like she was half in this world and half in another. In 2011, she moved across the country to Victoria, British Columbia, a city known for its calm ocean views and misty forests. For Emma, it was a place to breathe, a place to be free. She never settled in one spot. Sometimes she stayed in shelters, sometimes in a van, sometimes with friends. Not because she was homeless, but because she chose to live without anchors. She wanted independence. She didn't believe in being tied down. But what began as a journey of freedom slowly twisted into a descent toward isolation and fear. The paranoia nobody took seriously. Emma's mother, Shelley, remembers the first time her daughter called in a panic. It was late. Emma whispered through the phone, her voice shaking. "I want to come home," she said. "Something's not right. I'm scared." But the next day, Emma would call again, sounding calm, even cheerful. "Never mind, I'm okay. I don't want to worry you." This became a pattern, emotional whiplash. One call filled with terror, the next brushing it off like nothing had happened. Friends began noticing changes too. Emma started acting secretive, nervous. She'd glance over her shoulder mid-conversation. She said someone was watching her, that she was being followed. But when pressed for details, she'd retreat, smiling, joking, saying it was probably nothing. Yet something was happening. Footsteps toward disappearance. In the weeks leading up to her vanishing, Emma was spotted walking barefoot through downtown Victoria, sometimes wearing layers of clothing, as if preparing for the cold that hadn't come yet. She sat for hours in cafes, scribbling in notebooks, her eyes darting to the windows. People described her as looking lost, but also like someone who knew she was being hunted. She told a friend that someone was after her, but never said who. She never said his name. Then on the evening of November 23, 2012, something shifted. Emma walked into a 7-Eleven. The surveillance footage still exists, chilling in its simplicity. She appears disoriented, barefoot, dressed in several layers of mismatched clothes. She picks up a prepaid credit card from the rack, then puts it back, then picks it up again. She does this 5 times. Each time, her hands tremble more. She finally buys the card and then disappears into the night. She looked frightened, lost. She kept glancing over her shoulder, her eyes wide and unblinking. That woman was Emma Filipov. The police arrived and spoke with her. She was calm and polite, said she was waiting for a friend. She wasn't drunk, wasn't on drugs, wasn't in distress. So they let her go. It would be the last time anyone ever saw her. No trail, no clues, no goodbye. When Shelley arrived just hours later, she rushed to the shelter where Emma had been staying. They told her Emma had left earlier that evening. They assumed she was going to meet her mother, but she never showed up. Shelley checked every hospital, every police station. She scoured the streets of Victoria. She printed posters and talked to locals. She searched shelters, bookstores, and the parks where Emma used to take photographs. No one had seen her, not that night, not the next morning. It was as if the fog swallowed her whole. A ghost in a living city. The days became weeks, then months. Emma's phone? Never used again. Her bank account? Untouched. That prepaid credit card she bought with trembling hands? never activated. She left behind her journal, her laptop, her art, her soul. People don't leave that behind unless they're running for their lives, or something takes them. The stranger in the store. Just when the case seemed cold, it turned darker. Security footage captured him. He was later identified as a man Emma had briefly met before, but not someone close to her. When questioned, he claimed it was just a joke. But who jokes like that? Unless it wasn't a joke. Theories, obsessions, and the online hunt. As the years passed, Emma's story became legend among true crime forums, Reddit threads, and internet sleuths. People pored over her writings, her artwork, her patterns. Some believed she was being stalked, that a predator had targeted her, followed her, waited for the moment she was alone, and erased her. Others thought it was a mental health spiral, that Emma walked into the wilderness and chose to vanish. But even that theory has cracks. She didn't bring any survival gear, didn't pack clothes, didn't leave a note. She left like someone being chased, and if she ran straight into nothing. A mother's endless search. Shelley didn't stop. For years, she returned to Victoria, searching, waiting, hoping. She slept in her van, handed out flyers, walked the same streets her daughter had once wandered. She even dressed as a tourist in hopes someone might speak freely around her, maybe reveal a clue they didn't know they had. Every tip, no matter how absurd, she followed. A woman in a Vancouver park who resembled Emma, a possible sighting in a California cafe, a man who claimed she was living off-grid in a forest. Each lead ended in silence. No confirmed sighting, nobody, no goodbye. Who was watching her? The one question that haunts everyone who hears Emma's story is the same. Who was he? The man she said was watching her. The shadow that loomed over her last weeks. The invisible force she feared so deeply she couldn't sleep, couldn't think, couldn't stay still. She never told anyone his name, and maybe she didn't know it herself. Maybe he wasn't one man, but a feeling, a presence, a growing paranoia that finally consumed her. Or maybe he was real, and he's still out there, watching someone else now. Final words. It's been over a decade since Emma Filipov vanished. Her case remains open. Her mother continues to hope, to search, to fight for the daughter she knows would never just walk away. Emma's story is many things, a mystery, a tragedy, a warning, but above all, it's a reminder. Sometimes the scariest horror stories aren't found in books or movies. They live among us, in bright cities, on quiet streets, in voices that whisper through phone calls and vanish into static. And sometimes all it takes to fall into the dark is 5 words. He's watching me. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button, subscribe for more real horror tales, and let us know in the comments.